Thinking of Dadiji takes you to absolutely another dimension of silence, purity, and never-ending hope. Such was she. Reverence and admiration which I experience for her are not just emotion, but well-founded in reason. In observing her for more than 40 years of my life in the Brahma Kumaris. And today I'm so happy to sit back and recall those days of learning from her, serving with her, and many a time just watching from a distance, experiencing pleasure through seeing an aura of happiness emanating from her all the time. One needs to remember their spiritual forebearers and acknowledge the debt one owes to them, because those ancestors have left their footprints to make our shared path easy. And when you think of Dadiji as a woman and a spiritual leader, the head of an international institution, one word describes her perfectly well, and that word is love. She lived in such a close union with God that this love kept flowing from her. It was just a natural reflection of her healthy mind and healthy heart. Dadiji had both deep faith in herself. She loved God. She knew that she's a special child of God. So she had faith in herself. And at the same time, unlimited love for everyone in general and all the godly students in particular. Her daily reading of Murlis in the class was not just like a sermon by a teacher or guru, rather it was a subtle act of giving and taking. And that made everyone run for the morning classes. Yes, running and running, years after year. Why? Everyone would try to sit as close to the stage as possible. Why? Because it was not just listening, but it was absorbing something very sacred, and they were aware that such a meeting would give them a lot and would also remove certain things which were a hindrance in their spiritual life. She was a goddess of mercy and happiness personified. I remember how in 1994 a big group from Russia came to Mount Abu for annual meeting in Brahma Kumari's headquarters. A beautiful cultural performance by Divine Light group was presented on this occasion of Deepavali, and after this meeting finished, she encouraged the whole group with her beautiful words of blessings, and then she took my hand and I was just escorting her to her car when a brother came who was responsible for the stage activity. He asked, "Dadiji, what is to be done with these big silver figures of deities, a Deepavali gift from some of our center?" And Dadiji immediately looked at me and replied, "Give them to Santosh. She will take them to Russia for Baba's museum." This is how she was. On the one hand, so responsible, mature, discreet, and on the other hand, so prompt and spontaneous, just like a child. Any interaction with Dadiji, either on a personal level or during any event organized by Brahma Kumaris, was an inspiration and a blessing for all those who had a good luck to be around. When she visited Russia in September 92, she stayed with us for some days in an ordinary 3 rooms flat with 5 persons sharing the same bathroom. And she, though a chief of an international organization, never uttered a single word expressing her discontent or any demands for better facility. And those 5 days of her staying here transformed the life of hundreds, giving everyone glimpses of the presence of the ocean of love and closeness to God. So every time we looked at her, we could see that her face and the vibrations coming from her were a practical proof of the most prominent message of the Gita. She was loving and non-attached at the same time. In fact, staying with her, you would feel that the only person on the earth whom she loved and cared for was you. Yeah, you. Because she showered the spiritual sustenance in such a way, giving you a unique experience that you are very special for her. She was a karma yogi as well. Very good teacher, teaching through life, teaching from everything from her personality, and administrator with a difference, engaged in intense peacemaking activity at any time of the day, week, month, or year. She made everyone understand that in order to carry out an active peace work, to reconcile individuals, communities, or countries, well, we have to have peace in our own mind in the first place. If we pursue peace with anger and animosity, as it has been happening for the last 2000 years and more, nothing can come of that but a conflict. This was her belief. And many times I was witness to Dadi's uttering just a few words coming from her deep inner realization that we are the children of one Father, and 5 fingers are like 5 continents. 5 fingers of God are like 5 continents, and we are one family, very protected in His hand. And how instantly those words gave people the taste, the moment of peace that was coming from her heart, the spiritual giant. And through these realizations, something new was being unfolded in the service of mankind. Dadiji certainly was a great spiritual leader by divine right. She pulled crowds through her presence. By her side, no one was in any hurry to leave and go elsewhere or become engaged in anything else. Everyone just wanted to stay there with Dadiji. She could turn anything into a festival. Any season of the nature, any festival in the calendar comes in whatever way, but there would always be a festival around her. So people would love to stay around her. For them, as if time would stop. What Dadiji was saying and doing was their entire universe at that time. Many a time I was either an observer or part of situations when people who surrendered themselves for godly service would not hesitate to put forward their tedious demands or expect forgiveness and love for their wrongdoings. But here she was, never judging anyone as guilty and never keeping their defects in heart so that they can continue to move on this spiritual path. So this was her another side. That is why Dadiji's ability to inspire people by touching their hearts ensured their wholehearted cooperation in godly service, as a result of which the institution expanded by leaps and bounds from 125 centers in 1969 to 8,500 centers in 2007. And within this time period, more than 5,000 full-time dedicated young teachers and sisters were trained to serve with New Zealand enthusiasm. Her purity has always remained a great example, especially for all young teachers, Kumars and Kumaris, and also for family people, for Grihasthis. It would inspire them for making effort to attain perfection in their spiritual journey. Apart from these spiritual qualities, year after year she demonstrated as well a practical capacity and ability to host large-scale events at the Brahma Kumari's headquarters in Mount Abu, and could inspire these events to take place in any part of the country. It became especially evident after the construction of Om Shanti Bhavan, a unique hall in the whole of Asia with capacity of 3,000. In 1983, the first International Peace Conference organized by the Brahma Kumaris took place there, and it became a highly successful event, having drawn scores of prominent public figures, including Dr. Robert Mueller, Assistant General Secretary of the UN. Dalai Lama also visited headquarters for taking part in the conference. Both of them expressed lots of respect for Dadiji after seeing and experiencing the great amount of work for peace carried out in a peaceful way by thousands of spiritual brothers and sisters of this united family, with Dadiji as their caring mother and leader. 250 media persons, editors, chief editors, owners of newspapers also attended the event. I remember a journalist asked Dadiji during question and answer session, "Dadi, what kind of a magic wand you have used to attract so many prominent figures?" And Dadiji's reply was, it was their father's home, and that all of them had arrived on his invitation, and I'm just an instrument. Mrs. Shelley also came to Mount Abu for the second international conference. She knew that Dadi Prakash Mani was the chief of large international organization, and she too, being a very good leader, thought it would certainly be difficult to meet her, to meet Dadiji in person. But Dadiji, an epitome of humbleness, she would meet all the guests every day with open arms, asking, "Oh, is it everything okay? Are they comfortable? Do they want to eat something special?" Like grandmother. Seeing all that, Madam Shelley asked Dadi, "You are having 3,000 guests at the institution, and 1,000 out of them are IPs and VIPs. Don't you ever feel any tension, Dadi?" And Dadiji replied, "These guests have come to their father home, to their own home, and I don't have any reason to be tense." So that was her greatness. And in 1988, the Global Cooperation for a Better World project was launched. It continued for 2 years, then spreading to 122 countries. And then in 2000,